Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session on classroom layouts in preschools. My name is Patricia Mezu, and my company is called Professional Minds. Professional Minds is an early childhood educational consultancy. We are based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and serve and support educators and leaders in nurseries, preschools, and kindergartens. It's also our privilege to support parents of preschoolers in developing their children's education. These talks, these sessions, are part of our initiative called Curriculum Guides. It's an initiative to answer specific questions and queries that educators have linked to their individual experiences. And for us, no question is either too small or too big for us to answer. Our aim is to serve leaders within the field and to guide you as a leader towards excellence in a practical and easy to replicate way. Sit comfortably and please grab a notepad. As usual, we break down our sessions into 3 areas. First of all, we always start with definitions, and then we have some element of practice so that you have something to take away and implement. And we also have a time of reflection. Our aim is always to have learning taking place. Timing, short, to the point. We believe in taking information and putting it into practice. So practice is a word that you will hear a number of times for emphasis. Otherwise, we're full of theory and nothing within our environments will change. Here are our learning outcomes: to put information into practice, to take a step closer to outstanding practice, to have a clearer definition of the requirements for classroom layouts in the preschool, kindergarten, or nursery school, whichever term applies to you. We have a 3-pronged motto at Professional Minds, which is, first of all, begin with the end in mind, asking you to be prepared for the session and to think of what you want to walk away with. Be intentional with your learning and also be reflective. So, straight into this session about classroom layout. Here are some of the tips. Everything is research-based that we present on this forum. Learning material and resources should be accessible to children. Sometimes in my experience, I've walked into classrooms and I see a lot of resources that are totally out of the reach of children. And it's intended that those resources will actually be used by the children. However, children always have to ask an adult to get hold of the resources. So in terms of setting up an ideal classroom, think about how accessible the material, the resources, the books are to children. Think about your color schemes and aim for softer colors, more muted colors like pastels, because research is now showing that the brighter red, yellow, orange, and all the very bright colors do not allow children to settle in to the environment and are an unnecessary stimulant. Think about the environment, an environment that is orderly and clean. And it's sometimes great to have the children, if they're old enough, I would say at least from age 3, 2.5 to 3, depending on how you have been able to guide the children. Let them be part of the process in terms of maintaining an orderly environment and understanding if they pick up, say, I don't know, some blocks, they know where to put them back. Number 4, use of child-sized furniture and keeping displays at the eye level of the child. I really need to mention this because once again I've gone into an innumerable number of preschool classrooms, and I find the displays are clearly aimed at the adults. Children are unable to see things that are at adults' height. They may have some form of a view, but in terms of really connecting and engaging with the material that's displayed, particularly on the walls, it's always a great idea to have them at the eye level of the child. And using shelves is a great way to have material and to have resources that the children will interact with so that they have easy access to same, and they should be child-sized. Thought we'd just go straight to having a look at an idea, or to give you an idea of what this would look like. So if you see on the picture here, it's a low-level shelf in a classroom. It's made from a natural product, which is wood. The displays, if you can see the sunflower, the ladybug, and the butterfly, they're nicely framed and beautifully presented at the eye level of a child. There are not too many items on the shelf, so we're avoiding clutter. The material on the shelf looks fairly interesting and engaging and is developmentally appropriate. I would say from probably at least 3 years of age, or towards the end of 2 and 3 years of age. If you have a look in the corner, you'll be able to see some flexible seating in the form of stackable cushions. So that again would give flexibility within the environment, so children are not always tied down to sitting at a table and sitting at a chair. They may have the flexibility to go and sit in a corner on a cushion. All right, let's move on to centres. It's a popular term within the classroom, and essentially this is a definition. So centres have visually identifiable play areas with boundaries. They have relevant resources and materials. So for example, if it's a construction centre, it would have building blocks within it and other things for children to build and construct items with. Resources are displayed at the level of the child. It's something that we mentioned earlier. And centres have organised, orderly and labelled shelving. Examples of centres may be the math centre, the language centre, the construction centre, the science centre, etc. Here are some ground rules for centres, bearing in mind the fact that when we are creating environments and layouts of classrooms, the design should very much be one in which there is as little chaos as possible. Therefore, rules are golden. Here are a few of the rules. Introduce the centres to the children. This is always a brilliant idea. Otherwise, they just don't know. So we assume nothing unless they've been in your classroom the year before and possibly you're moving up to the next grade level with them, which may be unusual in certain settings. So always a good idea to introduce children to centres. Display visuals within the centre to identify what it is. So as well as having written information, which is great to have print in the classroom, it's also nice to have a visual to go alongside it, because some children may not be at the stage in which they are reading. Show children how to use the material. I really believe in this, in giving them practical and hands-on examples And that may mean them sitting down and observing in a group and watching you model the way in which the material should be used. Incorporate the importance of respect. Respect in this sense is respect for the material, respect for the environment, as well as respect for the fact that other children may be using something that they may wish to play with. So make that a high priority within the classroom layout and within centres. Develop clear transition times. So for example, if children are moving from one centre to another in a classroom that may be divided in terms of maybe a class of 18 children, not everyone will be doing exactly the same thing at the same time. So have clear transition times so that everybody is able to have a go within whatever centres are available. Make those transition times orderly so that we are avoiding chaos, crying, and a breakdown in communication. And once again, introduce any material, new material to the children. So the children may, for example, have gotten used to a set of material and maybe they've been using it for 5 to 7 days, and then you decide they need a bit of a change. Introduce all new material to the children so that there is a reinforcement of the ground rules and they know exactly what is expected from them. Let's look at the role of the teacher in the classroom, because she or he is not in isolation of what goes on in the classroom and is a determining factor in terms of the success of what's going on. So the role of the teacher is to guide the children, ensuring that they make sensible choices. Now this is important because within the classroom there are lots of choices. Some children may choose to do things that are utterly too easy for them. Others may choose to do stuff that's too difficult for them. And of course within the classroom design and layout, with respect to the materials that are on offer, there should be a variety. There should be resources that are challenging. There should be resources that are fairly easy to do depending on the ages of the children. But there should be rigor. Rigor should be part of the planning when setting up a classroom in the preschool. The role of the teacher is also to monitor and assist the children as required. So it's important for the children to have a sense of independence as much as they're able, so that they are not left in a difficult situation, but at the same time they're not overprotected and finding that everything has to be done for them by an adult. The role of the teacher is also to rotate through the centres with intention and purpose. So we're talking about having a bird's eye view. We're also talking about engaging with children within the centre, and that would also be the role of the assistant teacher if there is one, or anyone else who's an adult in the environment responsible for teaching and learning. Language is a very important factor depending on what's on offer. It could be English, it could be Arabic, French, Italian, whatever the language of instruction is. It should be used to develop the children within the centres, and language should be intentional and purposeful. He or she, as a teacher or as an adult in the environment, always keeps an eye on the traffic flow and crowding around each centre, because inevitably there will be some centres that will be more popular than others. Let's move on to practice. Here are some pointers for you, and I'm going to use language development language stroke literacy as an example. So within the language stroke literacy corner, there will be a book corner with comfortable seating, a writing area. So these could be materials used to draw, to scribble, to write. Another term for that would be mark making, depending on the age of the child. Print and models of writing in the classroom. So those should be on display so that the children have good examples of what their handwriting should be. I've seen in some environments where they have tablets, and sometimes the school, the nursery school, provides that for the children, and there's a corner for that with developmentally appropriate systems on the tablet. What's handy, especially if children are learning English as an additional language, is to have a recording / listening device with stories, either on USB, on CD, whatever it is that people have out there. The usual writing utensils, pencils, colour pencils, chalk, whiteboards, etc. Different sizes of paper, different colours, lined paper, blank paper, A5, A4, A6 sizes. And stamping is really great for children. So these are just a few examples. Of course, there are many more things that you can put into a corner for language development. Let's have a look at another sample of a classroom. There are no children in here, but this is just an image, an architect's view, I imagine, of a classroom. So if you have a look around, there is soft furnishing, soft seating on the rug. There's shelving, which looks child-sized. There's a little music corner in there. There's a hands-on corner for play in terms of a little kitchen display. There's a little book corner in there. So I guess you're all fairly experienced when it comes to setting up classrooms. So I would just like you to see this as an example of something that you can do, and a great takeaway if you are starting up. The other thing that I would like to mention before closing off is the fact that natural sunlight is really important for children within the environment. So think about keeping those curtains open if you have sunlight, as long as it's not overpowering. My name is Patricia Mezu. Please contact us via email if you would like. And if you have any questions, our email address is info@prminds.org. Thank you for your time. And that's our email address. Once again, thank you. We look forward to hearing from you.